So we do know this committee is going to be looking at the data from the clinical trials, and when you look at it, right, it has been released now. There's no specific safety concerns of the vaccine that were identified when you analyze it by age, by race, by comorbidities, and that was published on Wednesday, the report by the FDA, Dr. McGinn.
Yeah, the results look really promising. I mean, I think the first thing people look at are the side effect profiles, and they look very safe. The allergies actually seem to be, less to non-existent, which everybody was worried about in the earlier vaccines. So I'm very optimistic about this vaccine. I like the fact that it's one dose. I love the fact that it's easy to store and travel, because this is a DNA vaccine, which is more stable, so it's easy to transport. This is a critical point for us.
Yeah, and this could actually drastically simplify the vaccine rollout because of those differences to it. Like you were just saying, single shot doesn't require that deep storage. But when you put it in comparison to the other shots, one thing that really stands out is it's also found to be 100% effective at preventing COVID-related hospitalizations and deaths.
I think this is critically important to point out that I think there's a lot of discussion about the effectiveness compared to 90% versus 65 or 70%. But when you really look at what we all really care about, which is the severe episodes. So this is a good thing for the United States. This is an exciting moment. It's easily to distribute. It's easy to get one shot in your arm. It's highly protective. And I think we're going to really see a change here.
In the addendum, the early data suggests that it also might prevent 70% of asymptomatic infections.
Yeah, and we've talked about this quite a bit, right? If we can prevent the asymptomatic infections, we can reduce the spread dramatically. And because people who are asymptomatic don't know they have the virus, and then they go out and they spread it. So this is good news all around.
But there does seem to be a narrative that this vaccine is inferior because people look at an efficacy gap. And I think it's tempting to try to compare the effectiveness of the results based on efficacy alone. But there's different criteria, different definitions for different trials. And also, it's really like a snapshot of time because it is given at a specific time. And with Johnson & Johnson, they were dealing with their phase 3 trials where there were variants circulating around.
Excellent point. It's really comparing apples to oranges. The test is completely different. This went up against the South African variant, right? So a large percentage of the patients they had were tested against that. So we're really not comparing. We cannot say this one was more effective than that one because this one was tested early in the epidemic when we didn't have resistance. The new J&J was tested amongst a lot of resistant viruses. So we really have to, my theory right now is everybody, if you have the opportunity to get a vaccine, take the vaccine that's available to you.
I think, there was this one post on Twitter from Dr. Topol, and he compared all the different vaccines that were out there. But the one thing, when you take a look at the column that's all the way on the right of it, is that each one of them, when you take a look at it, is 100% protection from death and hospitalizations, and that's all 5 in phase 3 trials. And that's impressive, especially considering the time frame on this.
Yeah, and again, we have to just keep saying that over and over again. This is what we wanted. We wanted protection and ease of distribution. And if we can get this distributed, and remember, this pandemic is not just about the United States, it's about the entire world. Can we get this vaccine now distributed across places that don't have decent refrigeration, that don't have easy transportation systems? The answer is this is much easier to do. So very exciting.
And